The new Patriotic Party organized a program and the program was attended by many ex-officials within the new Patriotic Party. I can say ex-officials are omo bedi omo mre etwem ebimuso eguso edi omo mre, talking about Honorable Oseche Mensah Bonsu, former majority leader of the new Patriotic Party and also former Speaker of Parliament. Yes, that is Professor Aaron Maikukwe, and talking about a lot of people within the new Patriotic Party. Yes, in sema Honorable Kwame Namakins editujano in sema the new Patriotic Party omo atnase and make decisions, say this is how the party is going to go now. Omo address intawantawa ekoso between Kennedy Agyapong Japan and Dr. Agyapong and Bawumia misunderstanding ne say jabsa we sole anu akoto ha na we sole anu akoto ha say so ena afi so omo asan alanche new institution within the new Patriotic Party as an institution no your friend Patriotic institution. According to speech Honorable Alexander Fenyomakins editujano opache say this particular institution no eba beye institution a big grooming new leaders are omobabe taking over the new Patriotic Party. Yes, just say generations no ebima be di omo de in the next generation I say omo eba no, this is the institution omo pese omo establish sinebe this institution no ebe bo omachi institution no ebe grooming omo ama omo ehu the tradition of the party, the history of the party, because akwa say NPP omo what the party is known, what the party is known to practice, ladies and gentlemen. And this is something that Honorable Alexander Fenyomakins edituja Osan edituja say this particular institution eba beye center for ideology formation, eba beye policy innovation, and say for members of parliament say ukujina as a member of parliament na say to so na oba parliament you are coming to parliament with the ideology of a constituency. Honorable Alexander Fenyomakins say within the new Patriotic Party it's not going to be like that. Say we a member of parliament now oba parliament okay enye what you and your constituency believe, but it is going to be what the party believes. And dear parliament party ni no and now do who beshim. A lot of misunderstanding also within the new Patriotic Party ebinomuno and resonate with the decisions of the party. And this is something that I establish in order to bind say minority, all minority members in parliament. Sinebeya omunyina beko one side. Engon say we nam ha na we so nam ha say though ideas are ye dey lecture or say bra ebedi ujuma wa parliament individual, but according to Nsema Honorable Alexander Fenyomakins editujano it is not going to be like that. And also NPP is not just a political party, it is going to be a movement of ideas. Yenkuti Nsema Kwame Namakins edituja embra mesro so be subscribe your channel no has a Climax TV Ghana. Feel free to share what doing at the comment section for more latest news updates. Macro.
We are reminded of the principle of loyalty. And these are stories that define us, not as abstract political narratives. They are living testimonies of ordinary Ghanaians who chose principles and conviction over convenience. These stories remind us why loyalty to our cause transcends momentary dissatisfaction. And let me tell you about the true costs of the principles we claim to cherish. And let me make it personal, because these principles were forged in the furnace of my own family suffering. First was my mother, a dedicated pupil teacher. She lost her livelihood because she refused to bend the knee to the 31st December Women's Movement. And as a result, she was redeployed, a weapon that they used. And she stood firm because her husband was part of this great tradition. She could have joined the 31st December Women's Movement and saved her career. But she chose loyalty to her convictions over the security of her salary. My stepfather, a hard-working mason foreman at Pomase Pottery Enterprise in Winneba, found himself demoted and transferred to Ankafo Warehouse after the 1996 elections. Not for incompetence, not for any professional failing, but for the crime of wearing his NPP allegiance openly. His expertise, his years of dedicated service, his proven competence, all rendered worthless by political vindictiveness. And my own dad, a civil servant at the Ministry of Agriculture's Mechanization Division, became a casualty of his own courage for daring to challenge the junta's excesses. He was not merely dismissed, he was forced into exile in La Côte d'Ivoire when an opportunity arose for him to serve at the UN in Geneva. The very ministry that had cast him out refused to release his clearance letter. A 39-year-old man in his prime was forced into retirement, his expertise wasted, his family shattered, his dreams destroyed by the very petty vindictiveness of those who could not tolerate dissent. But let me tell you what this meant for a young boy trying to make sense of the world where principle came at such a crashing cost. The economic turmoil that followed these acts of political persecution nearly destroyed my education. School fees became mountains too high for a broken family to climb. As my parents struggled, my mother without her teaching post, my stepfather demoted to menial work, my father in exile, my educational future hung by the thinnest of threads. It was only through the bursary I won from Dr. Papa Kwesindo that my educational path was salvaged from the wreckage of political vindictiveness. But how many brilliant young minds were we able to save? How many dreams did we allow to die in the darkness of political persecution? How many children of NPP families saw their future sacrificed on the altar of their parents' principles? This is what loyalty came at a cost to my family. This is what standing for the NPP meant in practical terms. Not just political rhetoric, but empty plates, unpaid school fees, scattered families, and dreams deferred. Yet my parents never wavered. They understood something that perhaps we have forgotten, that our individual grievances pale in comparison to the collective good we serve. Dear patriots, today, as we launch this institute, let me say that it marks a new chapter in the intellectual and theological life of the new Patriotic Party, a true call for loyalty. It is the clearest institutional expression of our party's enduring commitment to development in freedom, to principled leadership, and to the constant renewal of the values that have defined the NPP since its inception. Over the past 3 decades, the NPP has stood as a beacon of democratic resilience, bold economic reform, and forward-looking governance. From its roots in the Dankwa Buzia Dombo tradition, the party has been guided by the values of individual freedom, the rule of law, private sector participation, civic responsibility, and progress anchored in democratic governance. The NPP has undoubtedly been the most transformative government in the Fourth Republic. Our liberal democratic foundations are not just philosophical concepts. They have produced results from the visionary social interventions of President Kufuor, like the National Health Insurance Scheme, capitation grant, and the school feeding program, to bold transformational programs under President Akufo-Addo, including the free SHS, 1D, 1F, and not the least, the Agenda 111 policies. And yet, we must ask ourselves, in a world that is growing ever more complex and competitive, how do we ensure that we remain relevant? How do we hold to our principles while innovating to meet new realities? I believe that those answers are what have brought us here today. The truth is, the best solution for Ghana lies within the NPP. We know this, but conviction alone is not enough. We must be able to articulate that belief with clarity, depth, and confidence to the people of Ghana. If we ourselves do not fully understand what sets us apart, what makes our tradition the most capable of advancing Ghana's development, then how can we effectively communicate it? How can we inspire trust, win hearts, or lead the nations forward? The first step to convincing Ghanaian people is for us within the party to be fully grounded in who we are and what we stand for. The Patriotic Institute is our response to that call. It will serve as a living archive of our party's journey, a center for ideological formation, policy innovation, and a training ground for the next generation of NPP leaders. It will empower our party's communicators and message bearers with substance, history, and strategic clarity. It will equip every member not only to defend our record, but to articulate with confidence the vision and values that make our tradition distinct. As your leader in Parliament, with my colleagues supporting the cause of our party, let me emphasize how critical this initiative is, not just for the party, but for Parliament itself. Too often, political office is treated as a reward, not a responsibility. And so members of Parliament sometimes take their seats with little sense of the ideology they represent. The Patriotic Institute must change that. It should be the fulcrum through which the NPP nurtures its leaders and shapes our policy conversations in Parliament. With this institute, NPP members of Parliament will no longer enter the chamber as individuals alone, but as custodians of an intellectual tradition, men and women grounded in our constitution, our policies, and the rich philosophy of the Dankwa Buzia Dombo tradition. This, I believe, will lead to a more thoughtful, value-driven scrutiny of our opponent policies. It will allow us to propose better, bolder, and more visionary solutions to the challenges facing Ghanaians. Alternatives that are not just populist responses, but principled, grounded in our beliefs, and reflective of our long-standing commitment to inclusive development. That is true leadership. This institute is a powerful reminder that the NPP is not merely a political party. It is a movement of ideas. And if we are to endure, we must invest in the long-term training of minds, cultivating leaders, and preserving the soul of our party. To our leaders and party leaders, today's event is also a moment of gratitude. I look around and I see the stalwarts who build this party brick by brick. And I am reminded of how far we have come. You must continue to guide us, our elders, as we too prepare to pass the torch to those coming after us. To the youth of our great NPP tradition, this is your time. Question ideas. Own your place in our history. Don't insult your leaders on social media. Use the back channels within the party to express dissent. And don't go out washing our dirty linen in public. Indeed, every cloud there is a silver lining. The outcome of the 2024 elections may not have gone in our favor, but perhaps it gave us the moment to pause, to reflect, and to birth this vision of Patriotic Institute. Had things turned out differently, this dream may have remained on the shelf. Let us not lose heart. The battle, as we say, is still the Lord's. My dear patriots, the elephant is mighty. Though it may stumble, it does not fall forever. We shall rise again, and we shall do so with clarity and a better strategy.